Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to continue our writing and science research project that we will be working on again for the next 2 weeks. This project, we've had a lot of questions and conversations in Zoom and in parent comments and questions text-wise that I want to clear up and help make sure we've got a good foundation and base to start with our project. If you recall in our first video, we talked about the fact that there are several ways you can present your research. You have some free choice in this matter. We want it to be something that is a product to kind of show your overall growth in second grade. I had one student who had automatically picked her animal, and she'd done a ton of research on the very first day and almost thought she was complete. And we want to make sure that you know, as a researcher and a studier and a reader of information and writer of information, we take time to keep adding to it, gathering information until we feel like we've made a complete project or a complete book or gotten all the information we want to get. So you've got plenty of time. There's no rush, but you do need to work on it a little bit each day. And today your lesson in in science is to work on the basic needs of your characters, of your animal. So if you remember on the day I did the first video, we talked about the fact that I was picking ostrich and none of you guys could pick ostrich. That's my animal. I know Ms. Potter, Ms. Hodge, and myself heard several students name which animal they had decided they wanted to do, and some of them said, I already know a lot of information about that animal, but I'm going to do more research to find more information about that animal. But today's topic or research that you're going to work on is the basic needs of that animal. So I was kind of practicing and getting ready to do this, and I thought, okay, when my students are working on this part of their project, they're going to be thinking about the needs, and they're going to be finding all kinds of information on the websites. One of the needs you needed to know was, how many pages should the book be? And we did not give you a specific number of pages. This is your product and your completed effort that you get to be creative about. So your book could have, 6 pages. It could have 2 pages about the basic needs. It could have 2 pages about its habitat, and it could have 2 pages about its interesting facts. But then one of my students today said in their Zoom meeting, I've even learned about the history of that animal, and I want to tell some of the background history about that animal. I said, well, would that go under basic needs? No. Would it go under habitat? No, but it would go under the interesting fact. So that student, their book might have 2 pages on basic needs, 2 pages on habitat, and 4 or 6 pages on interesting facts, depending on how many interesting facts they found. They might include some diagrams. One of the parents asked about pictures. Your pictures could include pictures you draw, but if you have a printer at home and you want to print out a picture and cut it out and put it in your writing, it's okay to borrow images from websites and the research, and that's fine. So we want this to have your ownership in that you get to pick the one animal. We want this to have your ownership in that you get to decide how you want to give this information and how you want to present it. You recall we talked about a book, a brochure, or a poster. I picked for my ostrich that I'm going to work on a brochure. That's how I'm going to organize my information. Does that mean you need to pick a brochure? No, it's your product. So you can choose a book or a poster, whatever you would like. But again, we do not want you to have to, with anything going on right now in the community, we don't want you to have to go outside of your house to get the information you need. We don't want you to have to feel like you need to get any supplies. If you don't have a big piece of paper at home that you could use as a poster, don't do a poster, do a book. Or if you have notebook paper and not plain printer paper, fold it in and make a brochure. So there's no pressure to have certain materials. It's more the process of gathering the information and learning about note-taking and how to do the research. And we've done some of that together in our classroom. Remember, we discussed that we did a weather project together with groups. You did your project on the brochure of the regions. And in that, if you remember, we made bulleted lists. And today I'm going to use bulleted lists for my note taking because that's the way I take notes. And so those bulleted lists will help us with that part of the project. And then we have also written books about informational text, about things we know a lot about. So today I kind of gathered my materials and I'm just going to model for you what your process is going to look like. On Monday's link, and I had to figure out how to do this so you could see. I can't video and use my computer at the same time, but I pulled out my iPad and I am going to the South Carolina Discus website because in South Carolina Discus, they have lots of kids links. And one of them specifically that we sent was this right here under South Carolina Discus. They have Britannica Kids Animals, Britannica School, and Animal Kingdom. So if I click on that, I'm going to get a whole section that has all kinds of research about all the animals, but I'm going to look up ostriches specifically. So when I get to the home page, and I know there's a glare, I'm sorry. When I get to the home page, they have pictures, they have them alphabetically organized. So I'm going to click on my O. And I'll see lots of them to pick from. They have an Old English sheepdog and an octopus and a possum, somebody had that, and an osprey. And here's ostrich. So when I click on ostrich, let's see if I can get it back up there, sorry. When I click on ostrich, it's going to take me directly to information about my animal. And you might be watching videos to find out research about your animal. You might be reading books on Epic. Epic has a lot of resources that you can use as well. This one has a video here, and then it has information with an article, and that article has about 3 or 4 paragraphs, and I'm going to have to read that article. And today I'm reading with one focus. I'm reading to look to find information about the basic needs. I gave you some information you needed to know about the project, but what does the ostrich need? So I took out my notebook paper and I have some sentence strips over here and I thought about it. Needs are, what does it eat? And what kind of shelter? When we talk about our basic needs, we talk about a shelter. Well, in ostriches, shelter, the shelter kind of goes with the habitat. So I'm not going to write about that today. I'm just going to write about what it eats and where it gets its food and how it gets its food. And as I was doing my research before, I saw a sentence in one of the articles that told me that an ostrich gets most of the water that its body needs from the plants that it eats. Now, when I read that sentence, and I didn't find it on my iPad, I found it on my computer, I cannot copy that sentence word for word from the computer article because that's taking someone else's writing and making it my own. I have to make this note-taking my own so I can put it in a sentence. So I'm going to make a bulleted list and I'm going to put gets water from plants it eats. Now, is that a complete sentence? I'm going to let you look at my sentence and see if I did it as a complete sentence. Didn't start it with a capital letter. I didn't talk about the fact that it was the ostrich because I know that that's what I'm researching. So I didn't say the ostrich gets water from the plants it eats. I didn't say that. I'm going to put this statement or this piece of information in a bullet just because it's not directly from the article. It's my own words of what I understood when I read about the ostrich. And that is part of the writing process and the research process is you are finding information today about the basic needs. You're reading it, listening to it in the articles, looking for it on the websites, and you are not copying it word for word from that sentence. You're not taking that information and copying it word for word, because that's not your writing, but you are understanding it and comprehending it and then putting it in some notes. When we say take notes, notes means I am not copying word for word. I am just copying the important parts. And that was one of the things that I read that was important. Now, as I read on down here, I am reading and seeing about the fact that they are found in the countryside parts of Africa. Is that about its needs? Nope, that's where it lives. So I'm going to save that till tomorrow when I do research about where it lives and its habitat. It says some people raise ostriches for their birds' meat, eggs, and hides. Hides means its skin. Am I going to put that under basic needs today? No, but I could put that on Friday when I do interesting facts. But listen to this. This author wrote it and put, some people raise ostriches for birds' meat, eggs, and hides. When I go to take notes on that, I'm going to put meats, eggs, and hides are some of the things people use the ostrich for, because that takes their words and puts it into a note that I can keep, that I have not copied it word for word, but I have put it in my own words. So your job in the next week is not to write your book. Your job in the next week is not to publish it and make it, ooh, I am ready to share it with somebody and teach somebody else all I learned. Your job this week, as I'm showing you today, is just to gather information or to research. Listen, look, find, jot down some of those things that you think are interesting, put them in your own words, save them in the form of notes, and we will take those notes and compile to create a great book or brochure next week. Happy researching. See you next time.